One of the biggest concerns about AI in law is that if AI does all the junior work, how will junior lawyers learn? I've discussed this many times on my podcast. After all, legal careers have traditionally been built through repetition, reviewing documents, researching, drafting, making mistakes, getting feedback, and repeating the cycle thousands of times. The assumption is that if AI removes some of that work, it removes the learning. But what if the opposite is true? Today I'm sitting down with Mike Kochkin, founder at BeSavvy, former trainee lawyer at Latham & Watkins. The reason why I chose to interview Mike is because he seems to be one of the only people actually trying to solve the problem of closing the training gap for junior lawyers. So I thought I'd ask him what exactly his solutions are. So, Mike, where do you think the biggest training gaps are starting to appear for junior lawyers in this kind of AI era?
Yeah, this is a good question. And I would even say, is the training gap the right word? Because for me, it more looks like a change of focus. So if we think about lawyers of the 19th century, they used to know like 7 languages, Latin, some European languages, some other languages, just to do their job well. They were able to quote some Latin documents 2,000 years old. And then it changed. Not because they didn't have enough skills, but that just their focus shifted. Now, if you are able to retrieve any knowledge easily from books or from computers, you just focus on something else. I think a similar thing is happening right now. Okay, we have a situation where for some reason, you don't have to really memorize a lot of stuff and then try to retrieve it from your memory while doing the work. So you just have capacity to focus on something else. And I think this is the interesting question. So what should you focus on? And I think a great piece of news for everyone is that you have the option to choose something. So you are more flexible. You don't just have to be a lawyer. You can pursue your interests. And for example, what can you do? So you obviously can be a builder. I think this is something we talk a lot about because lawyers are starting to build stuff. And to be honest, I'm very skeptical about all this LinkedIn posts saying like, hey, in one evening I made this. Because good things are not made in one evening, even if you have AI. It is an iterative process. It takes time. You make mistakes along the way. You fix them. You fix them through talking to people, through looking for solutions. These are the builder skills. And obviously, it's now easier to become a builder with AI, but it doesn't mean that you can do everything in one shot, in one evening. So being a builder as well as a lawyer is one option. Another option is obviously being a more of a people's person, more focusing more on different types of relationships, focusing on client communication, marketing, being a public person, being a public speaker, a storyteller. Because this is something I was very much interested in myself when I started my legal career. But when I was at a law firm, when I was a junior lawyer, when I was a trainee, I had so many things to learn just to understand how to write a good email. Yeah, I had to spend my time developing the skill of writing email. Yeah, now with the help of AI, I can write amazing emails much faster. I should only focus on the content, obviously. I do not have to care that much about the style, about the overall writing principles, because this is where AI can help me. So yeah, sorry for this long answer, but I think it's not the gaps. It's about shifting the focus, and you probably can shift your focus to anything that you are passionate about.
That's a really, really great point. And I think it's a great idea that you think about in terms of shifting the focus as opposed to looking at it as a gap. Each week, I take what I'm hearing in conversations with legal leaders. I analyse the market and track emerging trends in this AI era. In my newsletter called The Future Lawyer, Market Intel for the AI Era, I'm focused on what AI is exposing, the opportunities, the blind spots, and the shifts shaping the next 5 years. This is how you see the chessboard before everyone else does. But I actually do think that there is kind of a gap, because if you think about the way that juniors learn now, or like pre AI, it was always through kind of trial and error and learning on the job and understanding from other people around them how to, yeah, write emails, how to speak to clients, how to do different things. And with AI, things are obviously quicker.
I totally agree with this. And this is probably something we are solving in our company, is that there are 2 points I would like to make. First, it's unreasonable for people to use legal tech tools for training, because these are just tools used for different situations. You obviously need an AI enhanced tool for training separate from the legal tech tool used in the law firm on a daily basis. And the second thing, I agree that feedback, the trial and error, was the predominant way to train, but it was for one simple reason: because the feedback loop in the legal profession is extremely long. So the only way to actually learn something anywhere is the feedback loop. But if you're a computer scientist, you get feedback from the computer in a matter of seconds after you write the code. With lawyers, you can learn something for years and have no idea if what you are learning is the right solution to a problem that you're trying to solve. And that's why when lawyers got into law firms, they spent 2 years, this way we have 2-year training contracts, to actually make the mistakes, to finally get this feedback and somehow integrate it into their daily work. And the problem that we are solving at BeSavvy, this is like the primary problem, is to actually make the feedback loop much shorter. And instead of doing something for 2 years, waiting for this feedback, waiting for the moment when you suddenly understand, hey, that's why it's done this way. That's why that's what's important about this contract. You can actually get the whole experience in one evening, because with AI, you can immediately learn something, then immediately use it in real practice, then immediately get feedback from the system on whether you are doing a good job, and then immediately get recommendations on how this new skill fits into the whole skill system, into the whole toolkit that a lawyer of your level should actually possess. So I think it's not, here AI is not creating any problems. It's actually resolving a century-old problem of these extremely long loops, which hopefully we at our company at BeSavvy will be able to solve. I think many other companies will offer their own solutions to that. But I think that yes, we do not actually have a problem here. We actually have an opportunity that we must pursue in order to save the people from this long hours and long years of learning law without actually getting any fruitful feedback on their work.
Wow, yeah, I like that way of looking at it, actually, about opportunity, as opposed to, looking at it like we need to go through this process of learning, which we still do, but you're saying that AI can actually make that loop shorter and it make the learning process more efficient, right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
How do you think AI can do that then? Like if we're kind of digging a little bit deeper into it.
Yes, so AI is an important technology, but unlike legal tech, it's not the only technology. Because I think legal tech is mostly built around AI. In terms of legal training, AI is one of the important technologies that we should use. So if we speak about like the most obvious reasons, is that AI is great at assessment. So you suggest a solution to the problem, it can assess, and it can provide feedback. Not the AI, not just the AI, not just ChatGPT, but for example, we at BeSavvy, for every task, we call them simulations. For every simulation, we prepare a playbook, which is a collection of plays, collection of insights, of pieces of knowledge validated by a lawyer. And we actually ask AI to use this, the playbook, together with examples of great work to assess how well the work has been done and to provide some feedback. This is something we have discovered maybe like a year or two ago. So this is not something very, very new. And this is something we already use with our clients. We use it at virtual vacation schemes and internal training, and it works really well. But I think for me, the biggest hey moment with AI in the last couple of months, and I think this is something that which is not done anywhere yet, is that AI is extremely good at generating high quality training materials. And training materials, not what we believe, not we use right now, not another PowerPoint presentation, not even a talking head video, but a full-scale simulation of what lawyers do. For example, we at BeSavvy, we use AI to actually take, for example, some internal document from a law firm, create a playbook out of this material, then create a story on top of the playbook, which will actually be the foundation of the simulation. Then, based on the story, develop the characters. Then, based on the characters, develop the tasks of different types: a drafting task, a communication task, a case study task, a workflow task, and then connect them all together and actually build the content for this. This is actually a pretty interesting agentic approach. This is like a great example of where we not just use AI, we use agents, because agent has to do a lot of small steps, a lot of validation steps along this way. But this is an amazing, I think, discovery of ours, because building these simulations was always a bottleneck for our business, because this is a great concept. Yeah, let's have simulations for any type of legal work, but who's going to build that? Lawyers have a lot of work. They don't have the capacity. We as a company cannot build 1,000 simulations, 2,000 simulations in a year manually. But now with AI agents, we can actually generate unique simulations based on lawyers' unique documents and unique expertise, targeted for a particular jurisdiction, for a particular practice group, for a particular problem, and thus create a much more rich training experience. So this is, I think, a great way for the use of AI. And if we think about the next like 2 years or 3 years, we can even dream about AI actually being able to generate simulations on the go. So you actually sit in front of the computer and say, hey, I want to be better at M&A. And the computer says, hey, like, tell me about your jurisdiction. What is your current level? What do you want to do? And then on the go, it retrieves some great examples from from the database and uses them to generate validated, but still very high quality and very personalized simulations right in front of you. And it transforms the experience as you go based on your input. So exciting things. We can use AI specifically for legal training, not just legal tech as a whole, but specifically for legal training.
Wow. I didn't know that that was kind of possible. And I love the idea of saying, I want to learn about this area of law. Can you give me some kind of examples and training around it? So would the simulations be kind of like made up cases, made up scenarios, examples?
So this is a combination. So you always have the playbooks, so which don't only have the actual citations of case law. They can also have frameworks provided by lawyers, or they can have examples of how to solve a problem. And then AI can use this to actually come up with cases, but all of them will be grounded in the actual law firm experience. So in this situation, we actually kill two birds with one stone, because on the one hand, they are founded on something that lawyers actually do, but on the other hand, we do not expose client information, client materials in the training documents. So we do not actually create security risks. So yeah.
Have you had any kind of feedback from people learning through these simulations, and what do they say about it?
So yeah, we of course have feedback, and feedback is different, because on the one hand, there are people who just say, this is great, this is amazing, we love this opportunity. But I'll be honest, there are people who do not like this for one simple reason: lawyers hate making mistakes. And especially they hate making mistakes and then being said like, hey, you are wrong, try one more time and try a different strategy. Because lawyers are brought up in a culture where making mistakes is punishable. In order to be really successful, in order to be really good at your job, you should never make mistakes. That's why if you are given a quiz, you should get 100 out of 100 for the quiz. This makes you happy. And the job of a simulation is actually be complicated enough for you to make mistakes. I do not want you to complete the simulation with flying colors at first attempt. Then it is a bad simulation. It's not like real. I actually want you to struggle. Of course, this is a safe space. No one is going to blame you for that. But still, I want you to sometimes see, I want the system sometimes to say like, hey, this is a mistake. Let's change it. And many lawyers are unhappy about it, They don't want to. They are not. They don't want AI to actually criticize them. And it takes some time to not only build the simulations, but also develop the culture where it's okay that AI is acting as a mentor, and it's okay that you get some negative feedback, and you should feel confident that you will not be punished for this, because lawyers, in order for them to thrive in AI training, is to actually feel that AI training is the safe space, a place where they can experiment, where they can come up with any ideas that that come to their heads. There are no wrong answers. And to be honest, it's impossible to have all simulations like that, but at least you should have the boundary. These are training simulations, and these are assessment simulations. So when you're in a training simulation, feel free to explore. When you are in the assessment simulation, do your best as quickly as you can, and we will judge you based on your performance.
But surely when lawyers are training like pre-AI, they have their I don't know, their manager or whoever's kind of checking their work in whatever context. They would normally tell them that they're wrong, right?
This is extremely stressful. That's why it's so tough to be a junior lawyer, because you have no idea what kind of mistakes you might make. And this is my personal experience. You remember that from day one, you do something, then you give it to your lawyer, and then you just wait. You are sure that something is going to go wrong. You just don't know what it will be. And this actually makes the life of junior lawyers so tough. That's why one of our goals as a company is to actually provide you a safe space to make these mistakes and know what to expect from the future. Because I think the primary source of stress for anyone is actually the inability to understand what is coming next. You don't know what are the consequences, and this is make you stressed. And simulations are not only a good solution to actually enhancing your training results, but also a great solution to providing you a better quality of work, because you actually know now what can go wrong, and you have fewer reasons to stress about when you actually hand in your work to a senior lawyer, because you have the framework to check your work and to better understand what mistakes you might make.
Yeah, it's such a good point actually. That's one of the hardest parts of being a junior is when you're thinking, what on earth are they going to come back with? You know, there's going to be some type of mistake. What will it be? I like to say it would get easier over time, but yeah, in my experience, it doesn't until you start to become better and then you get better feedback. And yeah, it's a hard process for sure, definitely. What would you say the modern legal training model would look like in an AI first world? Apart from, we've obviously spoken about simulations. What other kind of ideas do you think when you think about, yeah, an AI first world?
So, in order for us to enter this AI first world and this is again our personal experience, because we have a lot of law firms who want to run pilots with us. But once we start, we actually see they don't have the ready-made data for this. So they obviously have precedents. They have a lot of contracts. So they have been collecting this legal data for ages. But very often they don't have training data that can be easily turned into something more with AI, even into a chatbot. And I think this is one of the first challenges, is to actually start producing not only legal precedents, but also the training precedents. So some training materials that can be used in the time of AI to actually create high quality AI powered training materials. I think this is very important for law firms in the AI era. The second point is also analytics. So you need to understand what you actually want to achieve, because these are one of the most insightful things I actually learned from talking to partners and managing partners at law firms, because I actually ask them, what do you want to track? And to my surprise, they want to track different things. Some partners want to focus on I don't know, on completion. They want people just to be there to complete stuff. Other partners want to focus on the assessment, on the quality of the answers. Others want to focus on the speed of the answers together with their quality. This is another insight for us as a company. Every partner wants to track different types of data. And sometimes they don't even know what what types of KPI they want to track before you ask them this question. Then, once you understand what data you should track, you should come up with the best way to do that. Because as I've said already, you need to develop the culture where people are not afraid of making mistakes. And if you just use any input they provide for assessment, they will not treat simulations as a safe space. It will be just another quiz that they should get 100 out of 100 with as little mistakes, with as few mistakes as possible. So this is another important point. And then I think the simulations, or let's not call them simulations, just the training experience. The training experience should be richer than it is today. Not only PowerPoint presentations, not only a video. We are able today to generate very different training experience for any type of situations we are in. It can be bots, text bots, voice bots. It can be it can be simulations of contract drafting. So we can actually build that today. It can be interactive case studies. It can be like some kind of labs where you develop workflows on how to automate stuff inside a law firm. My thinking is that if you want actually people to enjoy training and to spend more time on training, should actually try to create something engaging. And the easiest way to create something engaging is to actually provide different experiences, not like the same type every time. Another video, another PowerPoint presentation. This is super important.
Yeah, experiences, I think, is going to be vital, because that's how juniors can understand exercising things like, judgment, risk assessment, different core skills that are really, really important, and things that they pick up through experience, as opposed to learning from a textbook or theory, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest concern for lawyers and the junior lawyers coming up the ranks, or even graduates. How do they learn about judgment in an AI first kind of world? I think this is like the number one question that a lot of lawyers ask me, and I think you kind of answered it there.
Yeah, because something I learned from a recent I've been talking to a senior lawyer from a very prominent law firm, and she told me that juniors and trainees are so scared of exercising bad judgment when using AI that they actually try to avoid using AI. So we expected something completely different. We expected them to just enjoy using AI and enjoying it too much. But we actually managed to scare them so much that they say like, okay, we'd better not use this at all rather than make judgment mistakes. This is crazy. So yeah, completely unexpected outcomes of our fears is because they actually limit the capacity of juniors instead of making them more cautious.
Do you think that's a good or a bad thing? I mean, in one way, it's good because it encourages them to learn properly, not just rely on AI for answers. But on the other hand, AI is the future, especially for lawyers. So if they're scared to use AI, then this is also a bad thing. So it's kind of bad and good.
No, I think this is really, really bad because the sequence is incorrect. So I actually talked to a lot of law students, and they actually start with being very enthusiastic about legal AI, about the technical skills. And they try to focus primarily on different ways to enhance their understanding of what AI is and what the technical skills lawyers need to possess. And then they get into the workspace and they are actually given access to the AI tools, but they're given so many instructions on how not to make mistakes that they start to feel fear, and as a result, they refrain from using it. While what we should actually do is to actually encourage lawyers in the very beginning of their career, while they are law students, focus on their first principles thinking, so that they develop the frameworks in their heads which allow them to be confident in any situations, no matter if they have AI or they don't have access to it. And then, once they are sure that they have first principles thinking, they should be given access to AI once they start their legal career. And we're doing the reverse. We get law students passionate about legal tech. Then we actually impose limitations on them, and then we expect them to develop first principles thinking to be confident. Or it should be vice versa. First principles thinking, then access to AI, then high quality legal work.
I really like this perspective. I kind of want to dig a little bit deeper into this aspect. So let's say you're managing the training for a law firm. You're in complete control of how juniors are trained, and you have a new starter, a junior lawyer. What would be your approach with them? What would be your kind of process in the first, I would say, first 12 months?
So I think if I have like full freedom, which I never have, because we're providers, so we're actually following the lead, and we're not trying to impose our thinking on the partners or people running the training. But if I am in charge of training, I think my primary goal is to understand which frameworks the newcomer has. Because I need to understand that they have this framework, or if they don't have it, my job is to give them this framework and teach them to develop and enhance this framework through communication with other team members. Because I don't want them to approach any legal task as an conversation with ChatGPT. So I just say like, what should I do now? I actually want to be sure that they have a system in their head which allows them to function correctly with any input which comes from the outside. And in order to do that, I should probably sit with senior lawyers and try to assemble some kind of a document or a playbook which will describe this framework, maybe at very high level, but still I want to have it. And then I will provide this framework to the juniors, to the newcomers, and then I will develop a culture where they can actually stress this framework successfully, either through simulations, or not either, both through simulations and through communication with other team members, so that when they come to a senior lawyer, they don't ask like, how should I do that? They should ask like, hey, we usually approach this problem by tackling steps A, B, and C. But here, we have actually step D. So I have two ideas on how to tackle it. What do you think I should do in this situation? So I think that, yes, in an ideal law firm, I will try to develop this system, develop the framework, provide access to this to newcomers, and then explain that they should stress test this framework through simulations and communication with other team members.
Yeah, I've not heard that approach before. That's very interesting. Aside from, what you just mentioned, who do you think is kind of responsible for providing juniors with the right knowledge and training? I mean, some people say it's down to the structure of the law firm and their structural training plan and their graduate program and their junior program. It's down to that. And then other people say, well, it's down to the individual lawyer themselves to learn independently, to experiment independently. Who do you think has the ultimate kind of responsibility?
I think it is both, because on the one hand, yes, only a law firm, only management of the law firm can actually develop the culture where data is collected, where it is analyzed, where it is shared with the teams. Only they can invest into training resources, training programs, training management. But on the other hand, I think it is not correct in any situation in life to deprive juniors of their agency, because they are responsible for their career, and they must make decisions. I understand that it's very easy to be confused when you're a junior, because when you're a junior, you just try to follow the trends, and trends are very often, they're shiny, they're attractive, and they are the results of expensive and high quality marketing campaigns. I think the easiest example is, and I speak about it a lot, is juniors are they're afraid of not being able to use the legal tech tools right. And I say, hey, legal tech tools are extremely easy to use because this is their job to be easy to use. Because if it's tough to use the legal tech tool, it's a bad legal tech tool. It will not stay in the market. I think there are dozens of people in product management, in design, who actually make it, and the goal of these people is to make it as easy as possible to use these tools. So you should never be afraid of not getting exposure to Harvey Oligora before you get into law firm, because it will take you a day or two to actually understand how they work. But no one is actually speaking about first principles thinking. No one is coming to law firm and say, hey, can you take any legal problem in corporate and destructure it? How can you do that? What are the frameworks to do that? Because, I don't know, it seems old-fashioned, it seems obsolete, it's boring, but I cannot imagine, I don't really see how AI is actually changing this. You still need to you should do it even more, because before you could come to a law firm and you would be asked to just do a small part of a legal project and you are happy with it. Now, even when people, I think when they are interviewed in law firms, they are asked about, like, what do you think about this transaction? What has been done right? What has been done bad? So you are already asked to destructure complex legal problems. And no legal tech tool will actually give you answers to this, because they will. But it's your job to understand if this answer is correct. So yeah, I think this is a great example of not focusing on focusing on the trendy, not focusing on the actually useful.
As a junior lawyer, do you focus, or do you know how to focus on the things that are most useful for them?
So I think I already said that. So my job as a junior lawyer is to actually understand how the system works. So be a little bit of an engineer. So my job is not to read books. My job is to actually find the formula, the easiest, the most high-level formula for what it means to be a good lawyer. Like in physics, they like find that E equals mc squared. Like I need to find this formula, and then try to go deeper into any variable of this formula, and go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I will not be given an instruction, so there is no one solution to this. But this is what actually makes a great thinker. This is what people have been doing like 200 years ago, 300 years ago, when they didn't have access to all the information in front of them. They were trying to dig deeper into the pieces of information and pieces of knowledge they already possessed, and thus became very good thinkers. This is why, for example, I really think that you should not spend your university years trying to develop your commercial awareness all the time. I understand that it's not very right to say that, because the market is very competitive, and you need to do everything you can to actually land this to land this internship or traineeship, and this is extremely important. And it's easy to say, like, you should focus on this, focus on that, when everyone is trying to outcompete you in this race for a training contract. But in an ideal world, I really wanted people to while they are in law schools, to actually stay there, think about extremely complicated problems which go beyond what lawyers do in their daily life, and thus develop their first principles thinking, develop their thinking as a whole, and thus become better at doing any type of job they will be handled, no matter of what a level of efficiency AI reaches in 1 or 2 or 3 years.
I think it's such a great approach. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. They don't think, okay, what is the kind of the framework or the structure or the format of becoming a really good lawyer? And how can I kind of learn how to do that with the resources that are available? I think it's a fantastic way to look at it.
I think this is just a fantastic way to spend your life. Instead of just look for solutions, be arrogant enough to think that you can come up with a better solution to already existing solutions. So I think this is very interesting. I'll be honest, I myself do not spend all my days like thinking about the global problems. I also scroll social media too much. I also listen to some rubbish things on the internet. I do that myself, but I think that at least some time of the day, of the week, of the month should be devoted to trying to think about some global stuff. And this will actually will make you better at using AI, because you will become a better thinker and a better problem structurer. Let's call it this way.
I think so. You're definitely human then, if you do
Yeah.
all these things like
Yes.
scrolling
Yeah. Yeah.
and things that distract you.
Yeah.
What do you think about the virtual vacation schemes? Because I'm seeing a lot more of them, and I think it's a fantastic idea. And I think it's definitely an AI first idea, because you can use technology. You don't have to be there in person. I think it's fantastic. What are your views on it, and how do you think it kind of helps this potential training gap with juniors?
Yeah, I think virtual vacation schemes right now are living through rebirth, because they originally exploded during COVID, because law firms were eagerly looking. I think they started even before COVID as a way to expand the reach of law firms, to actually get more diverse list of applicants. But then during COVID, they exploded because it was the only way to maintain the contact with all future trainees and future applicants. But then after COVID, they lost their charm. And this is understandable, because without AI, this is just another training program, which doesn't really provide you any feedback, because it's very hard to do without AI. You should invest a lot of human resources into this, and no law firm is ready to invest human resources into providing feedback to the people who attend virtual vacation schemes. And now we are actually trying to reinvent this. The big question is, can we provide this amazing, interesting experience to virtual vacation schemes that will actually engage people? And I think, even though we launched one with Perkins Coie recently, and I'm very proud of it, and I think this is a great step forward, I think we still have to find the formula of success here. Because a virtual vacation scheme should not just be a training program. This should be a glimpse at what is happening inside the law firm. So you should also be able to tell a story of what it's like to be a trainee at a particular law firm. It requires not only technology, but also talent, because you need to be able to share something, engage in something unconventional that will actually make people get away from Netflix and spend 20, 30, 40 hours completing this. So I think, and this is what I actually love about legal ad tech, is that we are living in the middle between this boring legal work, between creating boring legal tech tools, because legal tech tools are boring. Your job is to just reach extremely high level of accuracy in different legal jobs. It's a technical problem, not a human problem. But when you develop training tools, you should also be a storyteller. You should always think about, if you create a training course, it should not only be accurate, it should be something that will attract people's attention. And this is especially important for virtual vacation schemes, because if you have some kind of internal training program, you can make everyone complete it. It's not that difficult. You can some of our clients just turn off your computer if you do not complete your obligatory training in 2 or 3 weeks. Easy. But here you have thousands of young people who for some reason should spend 20, 30, 40 hours communicating with your law firm without really getting any, without getting paid for this. They're not getting any assurances that they will be accepted to any other training programs. So you should create some kind of environment which is so interesting to be in, so that they join this and spend a lot of their free time going through this. So this is an interesting task, and I think we're still in the middle of resolving it.
I love what you say about that, so much so that I had to write some notes. I was like, quick, where's the paper? Yeah, I think it's fantastic. You are right. It's having that mixture between technology, but also understanding the experience of how it is to work in that firm, which is very, very difficult to achieve virtually. So I guess it will be interesting to see how AI helps law firms develop that, because for sure this is something that AI will be able to do in future. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes, and maybe you're somebody who plays a role in that.
Hopefully, yeah.
It's been so interesting speaking to you, and I really, really do appreciate you sharing your views and perspectives. I think you have some really, really fantastic and intelligent ideas about AI and training and juniors. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for giving a chance to share them, because we all speak about the legal tech work, but I think it's like 50% of what the life of a law firm is, and the rest is actually the training, the culture, the human, the communication, and AI will be a big part of this too. And the solutions here are not as obvious as with contract redlining. We need to discuss the solutions. We need to advise each other on how to better approach it. But we should be quick, because it would be very, very sad if we have Harvey and Ligora handling the legal work, and we'll still have PowerPoint presentations teaching us on what is good and what is bad.
Do you think it's important for lawyers to learn about AI and different AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, non-legal tech tools? Do you think it's important to learn a kind of like AI literacy and these different aspects of AI separate to how to use legal tech tools like Harvey and Lagora?
I think Harvey and Ligora not that much. I think because they are pretty obvious on how to use them. But general AI literacy, if you decide that your legal career is the career of a builder, so this is the person who will actually try to come up with solutions to legal problems, either by using some workflow builders inside Harvey or Ligora, or by building agents with Claude, or by assembling something on their own using, I don't know, using Lovable. Of course, you need to dive deeper and learn this stuff. But it's not about. So you need to learn this not to become a good legal tech user. You will be able to use legal tech without other building skills or without your technical skills. But if you want to actually become a product person, a builder person, and this is the point that was made at your previous podcast about building an AI native law firm, is that product building skills will be very much in demand inside law firms. And I think they will be in demand anywhere, because everyone wants builders, because operational work can be done by agents at very, very well. We will not have scarcity of people doing operational work, but we will have scarcity of people doing the building work, coming up with ideas, understanding which tools should be used in this situation, keeping pace with all the changes happening in the tech world. So if you think that this is the role for you, and this is not the role for everyone, we still need to have people who maintain excellent relationships with 30, 40 people simultaneously, who remember the birthdays of their children and who bake cakes before New Year to congratulate them all. And these people are as important as those building some difficult solutions with Claude. They just focus on different problems. So you just need to decide who you are, and then dive deeper depending on your choice.
That's fantastic. I love it.